And as a person, you don't want people to know your weaknesses or your flaws.
Yeah.
You try to manage it on your own. But then the fear of others finding out is so real to you in that moment that it breaks you down and it makes it very difficult for you to do things.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Study Abroad channel. Finally, you get to see the face behind the videos you've enjoyed so far. My name is Happy Abena. Currently, I'm pursuing a PhD in chemistry at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. And I'm also a graduate teaching assistant at the Department of Chemistry. I'm super excited to have you on another interesting episode of the Study Abroad series, where I had the absolute pleasure chatting with a remarkable fifth-year PhD student. She's about to share her incredible journey with us as an international student. So if you are planning to earn a PhD, a master's degree abroad, then this video is definitely for you. Without wasting much time, let's jump straight into the interview. Hello, Miss Barbara. You are welcome to our channel.
Thank you so much, Miss Happy.
You look great.
Thank you. You're looking amazing yourself.
Thank you. We are so excited to have you here.
I'm super excited to be here myself.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
having me.
You're welcome. Can you briefly introduce yourself and also tell us a little bit about your educational background?
Of course. Like you rightly said, my name is Barbara Dompre, and I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. I'm a PhD student in the Genome Science and Technology program, and I got my bachelor's degree from the University of Ghana, West Africa. So, for the purpose of this interview, I would rightly add that I'm an international student from Ghana, West Africa.
Wow, that's great. What inspired you to pursue a PhD in the US?
Well, two things, funding opportunities and research interests. So, heading towards the end of my undergraduate degree, I spoke with many of my professors about my plans after school. And I also knew that I wanted to pursue a career in research. But most of the research that was being performed at my department at the time were based on infectious diseases, but my interests were more into fundamental science and biochemistry.
Okay.
So I figured that based on the information I got from them, I needed to look elsewhere. So hence started my search, and I was looking all over the place, worldwide, and I found a number of schools in the US that actually had labs working on related topics to what I wanted to study.
Okay.
And that was how I started my journey to being an international student.
Oh, okay, that's great. Miss Barbara, what were your expectations before starting a PhD in the US?
I'll be honest with you, my expectations were not necessarily focused on the PhD.
Oh, really?
I was more excited to be coming to the US because, it's been portrayed as a place where you can have fun through the movies and other forms of media. So I was more looking to coming to a place where life would be much easier to live than my home country. As for the school, I decided that the PhD was just going to be another level of school.
Okay.
So if I've been able to excel in my undergraduate studies, then I'll be able to do the same with the PhD. And that was the mindset that I came with.
Okay. So, did your expectations align with reality?
No,
Really?
a big no.
Okay.
My priorities were misguided
Oh, okay.
and my focus as well. And so getting here and starting with the entire program, going through it, I realized quickly that I needed to focus a bit more on the PhD. And I guess as the interview goes on, we will talk a bit more about that and you'll understand why I say that. So I noticed quickly that the PhD is not just another level of school,
Okay.
that it entails a lot more than that. It is a job and school at the same time.
Okay.
And it's much more demanding than your undergrad experience. And so I had to realign my priorities quickly
Okay.
because of that reality check.
Okay. Thank you. What are the major challenges you faced during this PhD?
There are many challenges um, from the aspect of the actual PhD. You know, experiments hardly ever work. There's a lot of demands placed on us, deadlines that we have to fulfill for the departments, the graduate school. So basically, time management
Okay.
is one of the biggest challenges. And in our day to day, we also have social media or distraction management
Okay.
because we talk about time management a lot, but these days everyone scrolls through TikTok and all the other apps while having their lunch or during their free time. And then it might easily become a habit.
Okay.
So you find students when it's getting close to their exams talking about, oh, I need to put away my phone, you
Okay.
know. There's that. And then there's also the emotional and more personal aspect
Okay.
where I will talk about, things like mental health issues.
Okay.
We could talk about loneliness and imposter syndrome, and, basically just being homesick, coming from a place, your country, in my case, Ghana, to a place where you know absolutely no one,
Yeah.
to pursue something as demanding as a PhD, it's going to take a toll on you. You can easily burn out. And when that happens, you need to have a solid support group that you can rely on to
Okay.
help you through such hard times.
Okay. So what were some of these solid support groups that you used to overcome these challenges?
In the beginning, it was difficult for me because I'm not someone who makes friends easily or even starts conversations easily.
Okay.
And so when I began seeing the signs of burnout, the first person I spoke to was my advisor.
Okay.
Thankfully, I have a very helpful advisor. He's a very nice person as his personality, and he's also helpful when it comes to research as
Okay.
well. So I found it very easy to talk to him about whatever I was experiencing because it was strange to me when I
Okay.
first experienced it.
Okay.
So I spoke to him, and I also attend a church here where there are lots of Africans. So I spoke to the pastor himself and then his wife. So that I would say was the beginning of me forming my support group because it was difficult to rely on my colleagues at the
Okay.
time. It was
Okay.
difficult for me to open up to them.
Okay.
And I also got professional help along the way
Okay.
because I needed it.
Okay.
So I did. And eventually, I was able to rely on the faith that others had in me
Okay.
to be able to get back on my feet and, get my own internal encouragement going
Okay.
to continue pursuing this program.
Okay. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much. I'm proud of me too.
Wow, that's great. That's great. So you did mention of imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Can you give us a brief overview of that? Because I've been hearing about it, and I'm very sure a lot of our viewers have also heard about it. So can you tell us what exactly it is? What is imposter syndrome? At least I know you are not a professional in that aspect, but you can give us a brief overview of it, what you know about it. Okay.
Yes. So I was definitely going to say that that would be a topic for another whole video,
Okay.
probably even a series,
Okay.
because it's a lot to talk about. And like you rightly said, I am not a professional. I can only speak to my
Yeah.
experience and the little that I have read on it.
Okay.
So in my case, it was mainly self-doubt,
Okay.
deepened self doubt that was rooted in my actual beliefs. And when you have imposter syndrome, it's very difficult to focus on whatever you are doing because it presents itself as, why are you here? You don't
Okay.
deserve to be here.
Okay.
You, whatever you are doing right now is wrong.
Wow.
And as your mind is telling you all that stuff, it's also putting this level of fear in you that makes you think that everything that you are thinking in your
It's
head,
true.
others are also going to see it and you will be found out.
Oh,
And you know, as a person, you don't want people to know your weaknesses or your flaws.
yeah.
You try to manage it on your own. But then the fear of others finding out is so real to you in that moment that it breaks you down
Mm.
and it makes it very difficult for you to do things. And from what I have learned about imposter syndrome, in majority of the cases, it does not go away 100%.
Okay.
So if you're able to get professional help or however you're able to overcome it, it might show up again, at a different level of your career. Maybe you graduate your PhD, you get a job, or you become a professor. It might show up in a different form. You become maybe head of department, it might show up in a different form.
Okay.
Or it might actually just go away completely. But
Okay.
all that matters is that you are able to notice how it presents itself to you and manage it immediately. You start seeing the
That's fine.
signs so that it doesn't affect your work completely.
Okay, thank you. So, viewers, I would advise if you know you are going to pursue a PhD or a master's degree in the US, please take some time out of your busy schedule and read about imposter syndrome because it is real. It is very, very real. So that when you get here and then you start experiencing it, you won't feel like you are the only one going through it, and also you will know how to overcome it. Okay. Okay, so Miss Barbara, what are some of the significant achievements you've experienced so far since you started this PhD?
I wish I could boldly say that I have published at least a paper from
Okay.
my ongoing research, but that is not the case.
Oh,
And it's not so sad.
yeah.
We all have dreams or goals and we strive so hard to achieve them. But research is research.
Yeah.
Experiments fail all the time.
Mm.
And so I'm still working very hard on that. Um, but I would like to say that the achievements that I have obtained from this experience have more been with my personal development and also with development of skills. So, definitely the techniques that I work with, these are machines that I have not used or probably never even heard about till I got here.
Okay.
So, being able to operate them and also train other students to do same is something that I would say is a big achievement, especially on my professional side. And on my personal side, I will say that I am still working on my communication skills with my colleagues and also my advisor, and just my networking in general. Because, like I mentioned, it's very difficult for me to strike a conversation, but going having to go to conferences, doing retreats, poster presentations, departmental seminars, and colloquiums. All these are opportunities that have presented me with a chance to strike a conversation with someone, ask for help when I need it. Things that I wouldn't have done 5 years ago before I started this program.
Yeah.
So, yes, I've achieved a lot.
Okay. That sounds great.
Thank you.
Okay, so viewers, I hope you are enjoying this video and then you are taking notes because the information she's giving us is very important and then we really need to take notes. Okay. Miss Barbara,
Hi.
I want us to talk about doctoral research and thesis because I know a PhD is mostly about research.
Mhm.
So, can you give us a brief overview of what a doctoral research is?
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
So when you talk about doctoral research and thesis, the PhD literally means Doctor of Philosophy, right? So as a person pursuing a PhD, critical thinking is very important. And what are you going to use this critical thinking for?
Okay.
The doctoral research is whatever topic you have chosen to study. So, probably from your master's or your undergrad, or maybe even a problem in your society,
Okay.
right, that you have seen and you want to probe more into that. In my case, it's related to proteins and how they work.
Okay.
So you see that and you want to find out how it works. This is where the scientific method comes into play. You
Okay.
form a hypothesis, you perform experiments to test your hypothesis,
Okay.
and then once you have collected data from those experiments, you would have to, look at your data and compare with whatever literature has said about your research topic, and then come up with discussions and ways to. So, this is how you end up contributing to the information that is already available,
Okay.
So you have all this information now, or all this data now. You can present it in the form of publications. So we have articles that we publish based on
Okay.
the data that we gather. And at the end of the 5 year period, or however long your PhD is, you will collect all these findings that you have um, gotten throughout this period, and then put it together in what we call a thesis. So a
Okay.
thesis or a dissertation is like a booklet that contains everything that you have done with
Okay.
relation to your research
Research.
project.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have to rightfully cite your sources.
Okay.
Very, very important.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Miss Barbara.
Yeah.
I must say I've learned a lot,
Mm.
and I'm very happy you are here. You are teaching us a lot. Thanks so much for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you too for
Yes,
having me.
you're welcome.
Mhm.
I know a doctoral research can be very demanding, and so I want you to tell us what must one do in order to be successful in carrying out a research?
Okay, so I came with three sayings that I borrowed from my department's wall,
Okay.
and I would like to share them with you. So you might want to grab a pen and a piece of paper to write these on.
Hello, viewers. Did you just hear that? The information she has shared so far is very valuable, and then you might not want to miss this one. So grab your pen and your paper and then put down some notes. Let's go.
So the first one that I will share with you is by Albert St. Georgi, and he says, "Discovery is seeing what everyone has seen, but thinking what no one has thought."
Wow. So number one on the list is discovery.
And the second is by Julian G. West. And he also says that fortune favors the well read.
Wow. Okay, so number two is fortune favors the well read. That means you need to read widely, and then not just widely, you have to read very, very well.
Exactly. Yes. And the third one is by Albert Einstein, that many, many, many of us know about. And
Yes.
he says that I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious.
Wow. Honestly, I've not heard all this before. You are the first I'm hearing from. Thank you.
Yes. And the reason I decided to share these three sayings with you are, when you enter the lobby of our department building, that's the first thing you see. And that last saying from Albert Einstein is the one that I relate with the most,
Okay.
saying that I have no special talent, but I'm only passionately curious.
Okay.
Because, growing up, people always ask what's your talent, and you hear people talking about, I can sing, I can dance,
Yes.
I can cook, I can do this and that. I
For
have
me, I
none
can
of
cook.
those.
I can cook.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Nice. I should enjoy one of your delicacies these days.
Of course.
So I did not have any of those, but I've always been very curious, and my curiosity has led me to discover things
Okay.
that many people my age probably wouldn't know.
Okay.
So that was the one I resonated with the most. And I mentioned previously critical thinking, which is very important, time management, distraction management, effective communication. The list goes on. But if you are not passionate about what you do, if you're not passionate about your research topic, or if there is not a single thing about, reading, writing, teaching that you are passionate about, it will be very, very, very difficult to go through this PhD journey.
Okay.
Because even with passion and curiosity, it's still difficult to go through because it's very demanding. But if you don't have these, then you can have all the other skills. It'll just be a mechanical journey for you, like you are just checking things off the box. But it should not necessarily be that way.
Okay. Thank you.
Hmm.
That was insightful.
Thank you. You're welcome.